Hello, my name is Jamie Cornelson, and this is my presentation for ADL 854, Module 11, Gifts to Students or Staff. So the definition of a gift for a student or staff member would be personal goods or services for students or staff purchased with school funds. For staff, they are used for personal use and they're not used by staff at the school. So an example would be a baby shower gift, not some supplies that the teacher would use as a bulletin board. For students, it's an incentive or a fundraising events or an award for special achievement. For staff, these should be guided by written procedures. Gift giving should be guided by written procedures and coordinated by a committee, not an individual staff member. A committee membership should rotate every year, and the committee should meet at least once a year to review the guidelines and the contribution amount, which should be the major source of staff gifts. Some different types of staff gifts were special occasion gifts. They should be reasonably priced and paid for with the staff remembrance funds. They are for specific staff members, and some examples were a wedding gift, a baby shower gift, or if someone had a death in their family. The next type of gifts for staff are fundraising incentive gifts. And if staff participate in the fundraising project, then a gift may be appropriate. The gift item should cost no more than 5% of the overall profit. And an example of this would be a gift certificate to a local restaurant. And then they talked about all staff gifts in the texts, which would be token gifts, and they should be nominal in cost. These can be paid for with staff-generated profits or donated by the PTA for the purpose of staff gifts. They may be able to come from the general fund as long as they're less than $5 per person and useful in the classroom. And this again is based on district guidelines. So an example that I thought of was I worked in a district and they gifted us a desk clock. And so I imagine that they were able to pay for that from the general fund. And then the other example was maybe like a school logo t-shirt. Some important points to consider. You may not give cash or cash equivalent items without adding that to the employee's W-2 for tax income purposes. You may not use funds for dinners or for staff at restaurants paid for with the general fund. You can not allow one person to collect and deposit the funds and also purchase the gifts. Again, it needs to be run by a committee. And it's not a good idea to disregard public opinion. You don't want to give the impression that the school money is being spent recklessly. Now turning our attention to gifts for students, the two types are gifts for fundraising incentive gifts and awards for special achievements. On the fundraising incentive side, they should be for students who met the criteria. They should be paid for with the fundraising profit. They should be purchased with funds raised by the particular group that will receive the gifts. And the gifts not related to fundraising should not favor one group over another. So like birthday pencils for just one class wouldn't be appropriate. An example would be tickets to a local theme park. An example that came to my mind were my children participate in Jump Rope for Heart every year, and so there are lots of incentive gifts that they get through that fundraising activity. And then special achievement gifts, which are for individual students or student groups to honor academic or athletic achievement. These can be paid for with the general fund or the PTO or PTA group or the athletic fund. And some examples would be medals, certificates, or an ice cream social. So again, in my children's school, they have an incentive or a special achievement award for the amount of reading that they do. And then they get like a special, every 9 weeks, they get maybe a snow cone party or just different things like that. I work at Reno County Head Start, and we are a nationally funded program. So our particular program does not participate in gift giving to students or any fundraising activities. And so I try to think, what we do as a building, because again, we don't have a PTO, we don't have any committee that collect funds for staff gifts or anything like that. But the one thing that we do is we have a benevolence fund. And so, for instance, the education staff at Christmas time, we have a group in town called the Crochet Angels, and they make crocheted hats for all of our students. So as an education group, we collected yarn and then gave that yarn to the Crochet Angels in hopes that they would continue to make hats for our little ones. So that was something, as a staff we did, not for other staff members, but it was kind of our way to give back to the community. But again, we don't participate in giving gifts to staff. We do receive for Teacher Appreciation Week from the district. They buy us apples, and so I imagine those come from the general fund, and that's something that as a district they have planned for. So this concludes my presentation. I do have a Works Cited page. I used the School Money Matters, a handbook for principals, but I appreciate you watching.